Good evening. Good evening, neighbors, friends, brothers and sisters. Welcome. Welcome again, another Friday to join you. This is your member provincial parliament, Faisal Hassan, and I join you every Friday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. to hear your concerns and also to update you the important issues of the week. And you are joining me Instagram, Faisal Hassan NDP, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter, Faisal Hassan NDP, and also Facebook page, Faisal Hassan NDP. Welcome, folks. And um, and before I begin, I would like to wish to acknowledge at this time that we are on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuits, and Métis people. Welcome, folks, those who are joining us Instagram and also LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook page, Faisal Hassan NDP. I'll try to also incorporate, also read or include your comments and also attempt to answer some of your questions. Welcome, Quick Chick Lawrence has joined us. That is a great business. Please support our local businesses, especially small businesses, and small businesses are struggling. And this afternoon, I was honored to join our federal NDP leader, Jagmeet Singh, who also visited here on the Killsdale community, and a community that has struggled with constructions of Eglinton Crosstown, and also have hit hard with the COVID, and also the challenges of small businesses, and we had a round table among the members of the Eglinton Hill BIA members, and I want to thank them for joining us this afternoon, myself, and also the federal NDP leader, Jagmeet Singh, for joining us today. And also we have visited some of the businesses in the neighborhood, and we thank them and thank you for sharing also your ideas and inputs, and we will continue to fight for you and bring those concerns. I know that these businesses have said loud and clear again and again, they need support, and they need support now, and they need a direct support that is needed, that's needed now. And we are hearing you, and we want to also convey to you, the Ford Conservatives, many occasions we have put forward our safe mainstream, demanding and asking the government to support our small businesses, because if small businesses in our community and across the province are the job creators. It's estimated that they create 80% of the jobs, and they are close to the community. They contribute in charity. They help in many ways in our community, and that's why we need also to support them, to shop locally, and spend our money in our own communities. But also we need the government support, and that's why it's important that the Ford Conservatives support our main Safe Main Street proposal and ideas. And folks, we have been proposing so much ideas since we have been elected, and many occasions these governments have been voting our ideas down. And we'll continue to make sure the remaining couple of weeks now, I believe, before we go to election, to fight for the community in order to get results for you. I thank also federal NDP leader Jagmeet Singh for joining me this afternoon. Thank you. And folks, again, welcome. This is your member provincial parliament, Faisal Hassan. I join you every Friday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. And I'm joining through many platforms, and I'll try to join you also and expand other platforms. You can join me on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook page, Faisal Hassan, Instagram, Faisal Hassan NDP, and also Twitter, Faisal Hassan NDP. And Braden says, good evening, MPP Faisal Hassan. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Thank you, and welcome others as well. Also, this week I was also fortunate to so happy also to meet with tenants and staff at the grand opening of the Toronto Community Housing's latest tenant services hub in the community of Falstaff community. Tenant service hubs have been developed to bring services closer to tenants and provide a one-stop shop at convenient location right here, right there on 30 Falstaff. They provide tenants with a prime point of contact and enable them to get in-person service during posted hours, meet with, of course, staff for one-on-one basis and support and get faster responses for their local staff team. Tenants will be able to place a work order, request parking, and also hand in annual review paperwork, pay their rent, and ask questions to staff and more. And I look forward to more hubs being opened in the community in the coming weeks and months in our community. And I was also told there have been another community hub that have already opened in our community, and they are planning about 80 more community hubs as well. And I know, folks, when I was elected, majority of our TCHC buildings here in York Southwestern was managed by Dell Management, and that was outsourced by folks at City, and that was also what you were telling me about, that you wanted a better service, and I have advocated to end and TCHC to take their responsibility to provide a service and support the tenants. And there was no point of outsourcing a private company to run it. And I want to tell you that that has been ended, last year, and it has been great news. And now TCHC is stepping up to offer more services, more hubs to serve the community. And I think that is an excellent job. And I'm pleased also to work with them. They're doing a fantastic job correcting the past mistakes and putting things on the right direction, and putting also a customer service and tenant service. And this was also one of the new hubs that they have opened, and I was pleased to join them this week with them, with their outgoing, the operational chief, Sheila, and also met the new coming as well, Nadia, and also the staff working that neighborhood as well. Well, thank you, folks. Welcome, Sandy. Welcome, Frank, and welcome, folks. And Frank says, Faisal Hassan, NDP. Hi, Brother Faisal. Please also let TCHC residents know that recreational spaces are open in all TCHC communities. And that's also a great news. Yes, absolutely. TCHC residents, you can also take a use of the recreational spaces for open to the residents of TCHC. And that's something you can utilize and use it as well. Thanks, Frank, for pointing out that as well. Yes. Give me a minute. And that's great that now they also have a tenant Rabs was also present there to hear the concerns of their concerns, and now and also always, if you have any concerns, you can also directly go to your tenant services, and you can also contact our office as well. We'll be happy to convey to them any concerns you might have. Well, thank you. And also, small businesses grant are still small businesses are still digging out from the latest issues that they have been confronting with the support grants, and relief was supposed to flow by mid February, but some businesses are seeing delays in payments. Businesses have done all they can to keep customers and staff safe, and they need relief now. The government small business grant program has been rift with glitches and delays and leaving small Ontario businesses out. Um, Many small and medium business owners have burned through their life savings and also taken on a mountain of debt and continue to be at risk of losing their businesses. I'll continue to press this government to treat small businesses with the respect they deserve. And I know that also we have spoken in many occasions support for small businesses, and also small support for businesses that are also affected heavily on the Eglinton Crosstown on Killsdale, and also Mount Dennis as well, that have struggled because of the Eglinton Crosstown constructions. And many of them have not received supports there as well. So quickly here, I take Brandon says now that the mask mandate will be lifted on March 1st, this Monday coming. Do you think that it is a good idea to get rid of the mask mandate? Well, I think that's a question I think you have asked me also a couple of weeks ago. I think, we depend on the public health issues with the public health officer. And also, I think it's always a good idea to be cautious. It's a good idea to make sure that everybody is safe, and the safety of the community is number one issues. And I think I will always say that relying on the public health authorities is the way to go. Okay, well, thank you. And also, healthcare worker shortages is a big issue in our province, and Ontario continues to struggle with a shortage of healthcare professionals. Without enough doctors, nurses, and specialists, people wait hours and hours in the ER. They wait to see a specialist, and they wait in pain for surgery. Without enough family doctors, chronic conditions like high blood pressure can go unmanaged. The previous Liberal government, including Stephen Del Duca and Kathleen Wynne, froze hospital funding for years, cutting 1,600 nurses on top of cuts and underspending. Doug Ford and the Conservative governments have made a staffing shortage worse with a low wage policy, which is disrespecting nurses and other healthcare professionals and driving them away. I will continue to advocate measures to attract and hire these valuable workers and repeal the unjust Bill 124 that is keeping workers away. And thank you for joining me this evening. You're joining your member provincial parliament, Faisal Hassan. Neighbors, friends, and brothers and sisters, welcome again. As I said, that we have started joining you every Friday from 7 to 8 p.m. And previously, with this, we started, I think it's 2 years now that we have been doing this regularly. Previously, we've started doing it Saturdays from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. And then because of your request, many of you have requested late into the evening, like Friday from 7 to 8. And after that, we have been doing that as well. I guess we haven't missed it unless there was one time where I had to attend a convention. And also in February, I believe in the 8th, I'm going to also attend a convention that I won't be able to join you on that coming Friday. You can put on your calendar, and that's April 8th, folks. But I'm happy to be accessible to you, to hear your concerns, to come to you virtually as well, and also to send me your emails. You can reach me fhassan-co@ndb.ca. And also you can phone at our constituency office here at 416-243-7984. Welcome, Giovanna. Meet me at the crossroads. And Giovanna joined me last Friday, and she is the author of this book. If it costs you your sanity, it is too expensive. And also, you can also, folks, watch that interview in our archive. And Giovanna Guzman is actually doing a fantastic job in our community, and support her. And thank you for joining me this evening through Instagram. Welcome, Brian Walker, as well, and welcome, folks. And families of children with autism continue to run into barriers to service in Ontario. Many promising to fix the problems after promising to fix the problems caused by the previous Liberal government's inaction, and the government must provide a fully funded needs-based Ontario autism program so that kids with autism get the support and therapies they need to thrive. The OAP waitlist has now skyrocketed to well over 50,000 children in Ontario, double the amount of children since this government took over. The system is failing families and demands far-reaching changes to deliver the care and support families need. Well, you're welcome, Giovanna. Welcome. Meet me at the crossroads. Can you hear? Brian says, cannot hear me. You cannot hear me on Facebook. Can you hear now? You can hear Brian. You can hear Brian Walker. Can everybody hear me? Before I proceed, I just want you to hear me. I cannot hear. Oh, okay. You cannot hear. What about? Let me see. Can you hear now? What about now? Can you hear now? Can you hear? You cannot hear? Okay, just give me a minute. And there. Just give me, folks. I'll reset on my Instagram so that folks over there, they said they could not hear me, and people on Facebook can hear me. Excellent. So I just want to make folks on Instagram, I want them to join back, and hopefully they can hear us. Now they are coming in. Hopefully they can hear me, and then I can proceed our discussions, and also to give you an update. Yes, great. So you can hear me now, folks, on Instagram. Can you just say thumbs up? It's working now. Very good. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, folks, for joining Instagram. This is your Member Provincial Parliament, Faisal Hassan. I join you every Friday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Those who are joining us Instagram, welcome again. Faisal Hassan NDP, and also folks on Facebook page, Faisal Hassan NDP, Twitter, Faisal Hassan NDP, and LinkedIn and YouTube. Welcome, folks. And if you haven't subscribed my YouTube, please do so. And now you can hear me. That's good. Thank you very much. I will come to your comments, and I'll be able to take shortly. But I would like to also update you a bit about childcare. As you know, we are the last province and territory that has not signed the childcare deal. And you know that over 30 years, the Liberals were promising a childcare. Remember the Red Book in 1993. Now it's an opportunity now to take advantage of that and sign the deal so that we can help families. Ontario remains the only province or territory in the country without a childcare agreement with the federal government. And I'm hearing from many parents tired of the delays. Affordable childcare has been the wish of so many families in our community here in York Southwestern and across Ontario. I see my colleague Sol Mamakwa joining us. Welcome, Sol. And thank you for joining us Instagram. Welcome. And Sol Mamakwa is doing a fantastic job. in the north, and also fighting also for a clean water, folks, and drinking water. Folks in indigenous communities in the north do not have drinking water, and it's a shame. He has been standing up and bringing those stories, but to this day, it hasn't been delivered. An NDP government will deliver clean drinking water and a basic human conditions, other important, such as water, electricity, and so on. And I was talking about affordable childcare, folks, has been the wish of so many families in our community. And it is frustrating that Ontario is the last remaining holdout when our province has been home to the highest childcare cost in the country. Other provinces are beginning the transition to $10 childcare and finally providing a relief to families struggling with issues of affordability. I have continually pressed the government to move rapidly to finalize an agreement and will continue to insist that this issue is treated as a priority. And we need the deal now. We cannot wait another 30 years. And remember, the Liberals were promising 30 years ago with a red book about childcare, John Crochet Martin, and now current Liberals, a minority government, are willing to work with others to get it done. Why can we not sign the deal? And if it doesn't signed in June 2nd, NDP government will sign it, folks. Thank you. Just give me a minute. Quickly, I'll take the comments and questions. And first, Instagram, Reg Handel says that, how did it feel to meet Jagmeet? Well, Jagmeet, folks, he's referring to, because Jagmeet Singh visited us this afternoon on our community of Kilsdale. He's the federal NDP leader, and I was pleased and honored to welcome him again in our community. This is not the first time Jagmeet came to our community. He came many times, and we were honored for him to join us and hear the challenges that small businesses are facing in our community, especially those on Cross Eglinton, Crosstown, Kilsdale. As you know, there has been continuous construction, and to this day, these businesses are struggling. And they have again and again said they want direct support, and we're still waiting that direct support for them, and will continue to advocate for them. Thank you. And quickly, Brandon says that Dr. Teresa Tam is warning that there could be a bump in the new COVID-19 cases. If there is a bump in the new COVID-19 cases, do you think that the province of Ontario will reintroduce the COVID-19 restrictions again in the province of Ontario? And Faisal, welcome. And Brandon, I think, as I said, the health and the safety of the public is number one, and I think, as I said, we will rely on the public health officers, suggestions and advice and considerations, and that's what we will rely. This is when it comes to health issues, so I will leave it there. And folks, welcome. Those who are just joining, you are joining your member provincial parliament, Faisal Hassan. I join you every Friday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. You are joining me on Instagram, Faisal Hassan NDP, Twitter, Faisal Hassan NDP, YouTube, and also on LinkedIn and Facebook page, Faisal Hassan NDP. If you haven't subscribed my YouTube, please do so. Okay, so you can also view past videos that you have missed, question period, members' statements, and also debates that are also already there, and also our town hall meetings we held. Also, these are also so many videos you can actually tap into and also get information you need from there. If you want to contact me, you don't have to wait Fridays. You can write to me, Faisal Hassan CO@ndp.on.ca, or you can reach me at the constituency office at 416-243-7984. Yes, 416-243-7984. Well, thank you, folks, for joining. And I'm also pleased to hear that the government is planning to make the pandemic pay increase for personal support workers permanent, but wish they could have gone farther. I have been fighting for PSW pandemic pay to be permanent and to be topped up to $5 per hour increase. PSW jobs should be permanent, full-time careers instead of the part-time, temporary agency positions. Positions they often are now. I will continue to advocate for PSWs and the need to hire and train more of these indispensable professionals so that every resident in long-term care can have 4 dedicated hours of hands-on care service every day, and home care can finally be fixed. The mess that the liberals and the conservatives have created, and we have seen the report that the military have revealed, and we need to respect our seniors. We cannot afford to make money on the backs of our seniors, and we will end that because we want to devote every dollar and to service and care for our seniors, and run by a non-profit, publicly run long-term care and home care that supports our seniors. So every dollar should be directed to service and care for our seniors. This is the time to help them. They have contributed their entire life helping the community, and now they need our support. Now is the time to help them. And meet me at the crossroads, says, good job. Well, thank you, Giovanna, and thank you, folks. If you have actually, folks, missed last Friday's, I had a guest for the first time, and Giovanna Guzman is an author, also lives in our community, and her book is, if it costs you your sanity, it is too expensive. And it is an excellent book. You can read, you can actually order, from the website www.meetmeatthecrossroads.org. Please support our local writers. We also have our children's book author, Ayana Francis, who also was also our guest before. And this is also important to support our local authors so that we can help them. And the artists are struggling. They're struggling, and I know the difficult of publishing because I have been a struggling artist myself, and we need to support them, folks. Well, you're welcome, Giovanna. Giovanna says, thank you so much. Welcome. And those who just joined, you're a member of Provincial Parliament, Faisal Hassan. I join you every Friday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. You're joining me Twitter, Faisal Hassan NDP, Instagram, Faisal Hassan NDP, YouTube, YouTube and LinkedIn, and also Faisal Hassan NDP Facebook page as well. Welcome, Imad. I hope you're doing well, and I hope all is well with you. Saeed, welcome, and welcome you all, folks, for joining. And I have been hearing growing concern from tenants receiving notices of above guideline rent increases in our community. The government announced the guideline for rent increases for 2022 in Ontario is 1.2%, but that's not stopping some landlords from overreaching and requesting rent increases that outpace inflation. After COVID-19 rent freeze in 2021, some landlords are looking for any opportunity to squeeze more money out of tenants. Sadly, Premier Ford has abandoned tenants and is not standing in the way of efforts to jack up rent in an environment where family budgets are already stretched thin. The recurring problems of harassment and neglect of long-term residents continues as landlords attempt to push established tenants out in the hopes of replacing them with new tenants who can afford higher rents. Evictions also continue to plague our community, creating anxiety and discomfort for individuals and families who are suddenly forced to uproot and find a new home. We need to do more to support tenants in this community of ours. Keeping a roof over one's head cannot be considered a luxury. Housing is a human right and should be treated as such. And I have also tabled a bill entitled Housing is a Human Right. And that bill was voted down by this conservative government. In my time and continue of advocating at Queen's Park, I have been a fierce advocate for tenants' rights. And I have no intention of stopping. And folks, when I talk about landlords, I am not talking about a pop and mum landlords. There are somebody renting his basement or his home here and there. Those are not the landlords I'm talking about. And we need also to protect them, those folks, and to support them as well. I am talking about these giant, big landlords that have failed tenants in our community and across the province. We need to institute a rent control measures, including a vacancy control, to rein in raising rates and get market under control. We need stiffer penalties for landlords pushing illegitimate evictions as a means of increasing rents. We need to demand accountability from landlords failing to deal with maintenance issues in a timely manner. And we need to invest in building more housing across the province. This issue is too important to sweep under the rug, and we need to make sure that we do that, folks, and support the community. Welcome, Nasra, and we need to put housing a priority, because we've seen the crisis of housing. And if I could just talk about why we are here, is because in 1993, the federal liberals said we have nothing to do with housing, and they get away, they just washed their hands and said we have nothing to do with it. And that led to downloading a federal responsibility into provincial jurisdictions. And what do the Mike Harris and Dalton McGuinty and Ernie Eves and Captain Wynne do? They downloaded to municipalities and said that it is not a responsibility of the provincial government. And we have seen municipalities like Toronto struggling for affordable housing, of the waiting list of access to housing, over 100,000 of people waiting for those lists. And we have seen that, and because of those crises, the Liberals, they had 15 years, has done nothing about it. They make it life difficult, and they have done nothing to help these struggling communities and folks. And now we see a life is not affordable. People pay, enormous amount for their childcare, their auto insurance. Now gas also. These price gouging, we don't even have a protection for consumers. And I'm also proud to table a bill to protect consumers and to have consumer watchdog. I have, proud to sponsor with my colleagues from Humber River Black Creek, London Wolf Center, and also Scarborough Southwest. And what do this government do? Conservatives, they voted down again. And that's a shame, folks. But our party has been stressing the importance of housing for a long time. And back in 2020, we my leader launched, Andy Horvath, the official opposition leader, Homes You Can Afford. And many of you, I have sent you copies. I have emailed you. I have also sent you by mail. And if you still want it, you can actually check it out. Ontario NDP Housing Plan. That will serve as one of the backbones of our upcoming election platform. Since the launch of our plan, we have worked tirelessly to get the government to commit to some of the concrete options of getting it down before the election. We have laid out, but they have continued to let tenants down. People are still dealing with insecure or insufficient housing, and young people eager to start their lives continue to wonder how they could possibly afford to live on their own, in their own. Our plan takes on the billionaires, friend speculators, and bad faith developers who have made the market unaffordable for regular Ontarians and invest in you. Wherever you live, whatever your financial situation, your age, identity, or ability, you deserve a safe, secure, and affordable place to call home. With your support, I hope we can move past the failed conservative and liberal plans of the past in June 2nd and deal with the housing crisis in an equitable and sustainable way that benefits the decent and hardworking people of our community of York Southwestern. And folks who are joining are welcome. You're joining your member provincial parliament, Faisal Hassan. I join you every Friday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Those who are joining on Instagram, welcome. And those who are joining also Twitter, welcome. And those also who are joining LinkedIn and YouTube also are welcome as well. And I know that you have so many questions and comments. And I know you have so many questions and comments. I'll try to do my best to include those as well. And I have spoken previously about the affordability crisis that is becoming an increasingly concern for so many here in our community of York Southwestern. As we move closer to putting the pandemic behind us, it is clear that the road to economic recovery will be long and pumpy. It doesn't have to be painful. However, and I'm grateful for all the ideas that have come forward to help average people afford to live and thrive here in our community. Some ideas were forged from COVID-19 crisis, like development of consumer protection watchdog. And I have tabled that bill with my colleagues, Tom Rukasevich from Humber River Black Creek, my colleague Dolly Beckham from Scarborough Southwest, my colleague Terence Canahan from London North Centre, and we tabled this bill. We debated about it, but this government have voted it down. It would have protected consumer to make sure that you are not gouged at the pumps on gas stations or being discriminated because of your postal code, and this would have been the best consumer protection in Canada. What does the Ford Conservatives do? They vote it down again. But others are based on long-held principles of the Ontario NDP that put average people first. Today, I want to look past the challenges and talk about solutions that we can implement to improve the lives of everyone in our community and improve affordability issues. There are steps we can take today, and I'm continuing to urge the government to take action. Words are not enough. We need action. One way to address the issue of affordability is to look at the flattened income levels. Prices have gone up, but little has been done to ensure that income levels are rising to meet the increased costs. If you are a senior or on the Ontario Disability Support Program or Ontario Works, you know that supports are not keeping up with costs. That is why it is so important to provide increased direct support to these vulnerable community members who need our assistance. Workers also need to receive decent pay for an honest day's work. That is why we have called for an increase in the minimum wage to $20 an hour and demanding wage increases in the healthcare industry, including permanent and full-time employment for personal support workers and also for cleaners as well. There are many people who are also cleaning in hospitals, in many places that are not also being provided decent wages. We've also demanded the repeal of Bill 124, which suppresses the pay of nurses and insisted on fairness for gig workers and small business owners. The other side of the equation is the need to keep costs under control. Housing costs are rising out of control, and our housing plan would provide rent and vacancy control measures to keep costs down and support individuals with rent subsidies where needed. Ontario parents are drowning in the highest childcare fees in the country, and they cannot wait any longer for relief from this mortgage-sized monthly costs. Ontario families need help now. Families relying on vehicles for commuting and pickup and drop off from school or practice are also feeling the pinch. That is why we have pushed for accountability from insurance companies to lower auto insurance rates and have presented a bill to regulate gas prices. This government has stood in the way of concrete proposals to address affordability, often favoring big box stores and wealthy donors at the expense of average working people. This approach doesn't work for our community and isn't sustainable. It is time to put people first. And to put people first, it starts first listening to them. You have to listen to people first, because when you listen to people, then you'll be able to understand what their solutions are. And that's why we have been listening to you. That's why I have been joining you every Friday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. for the last 2 years, starting March of the 2020. And it's almost 2 years, folks. And it is 2 years, actually. And we've heard a lot of good things, a lot of good ideas. And we know that also small businesses in our community have struggled. They have struggled, and we know that many businesses could not come out of the pandemic because they are gone, closed. And many of these businesses were women-run businesses, women-owned and minority-owned businesses. And some of them I can highlight is perfectly planned. And also WIF, gone, and many others also are gone, and support didn't come to them on early on. It was too late for them, and we don't want. And this pandemic also hit hard women, and we need also to think economic recovery that supports women as we come out of it, and that's why we need to also put a priority on the recovery, on a she recovery, to put also women and also visible minorities, vulnerable members of communities, and also small businesses that have struggled. We know also the Eglinton Crosstown has also impacted our community, on Kilsdale community and Mount Dennis. And they have. That's why this afternoon I had a roundtable discussion on those members of the Eglinton Hill BIA, and I was joined by Jagmeet Singh, the federal NDP leader, to hear also about their concerns. As we listen to them, we see that the previous liberal and also this conservative government have let them down. They have been promising direct support. It's to this day hasn't been delivered. We know that they have, according to the minister, of the Transportation, Carol Maroney, have said that they have provided 3 million to the BIAs on call, the city-run BIAs, and we found out already they have spent 2 million and there's only 1 million left. And we have said that this should be going directly to these people, but it's not going to. And they have said already they have been doing cleaning windows, and it's not what they needed. They didn't need cleaning windows. They needed direct support. We need to make sure support comes to these small businesses, and it hasn't been coming lately. But I'm happy to listen to them this afternoon, and I'll be advocating as we go back to the legislature next week until we go to the election, to make sure that we get some results for them. I'll take some comments from you, and I will go first on a Facebook page. I see Brian Walker. I have a question. I think it's a comment. I'll see. He says, what are some opportunity areas from which subsidies and social policies will be funded? It must come at the expense of other programs or revenue resources. Not necessarily, Brian. We are all in it together. We can support all programs. All we need is a government that cares and puts people first. We've seen already, small businesses have been let down while they open the big box stores, and we knew during the pandemic, the small businesses was actually much safer to be opened, but by favoring their buddies and their friends, they opened to big box stores and thereby leaving out the small businesses. So it is not either or, we can do all of these things at the same time, and that's what's required. It's required, Brian, leadership and government supposed to be putting things together and supporting all aspects of our economy. And we need to support our businesses, we need to support our people, and we need to support a vision that brings economic recovery together. And that's what we need, Brian. We also need to think about how we can also think about school and work inseparable, that they go hand in hand. So we think about the future of job creation by thinking about also our people. And our people have been neglected, really, and folks who need support for social policies can be provided support. We can also provide support for our businesses, especially small businesses, and make sure that we are able to do it. We can do it. We have the plan, Brian. We have the plan. All we need to do it, just form government in June 2nd. An NDP government will be first and foremost listening and also delivering results for the people we represent. And definitely that's what I'm looking forward to, work with you, to listen to you, to bring your ideas and make sure that we support social services. Yes, there are many members of our community who need support. They need support for housing. They need support for subsidized housing. They need support for living basic things. And we should be able to support them. And we should be able to support also folks with mental health. We'll be able to do that by also providing an entire ministry of mental health, devoted to mental health, by providing also transitional homes, and also making sure that they also have a rehabilitation while they're there. As they recover, we can also preparing them into returning them into the workforce by giving them opportunity for training, and also putting them into the skills in which they are comfortable with. So that I think what's lacking at the moment is a vision, a government that is kind, gentle, and also accountable, transparent, and also have a good governance. And that's it is lacking, this government and previous government, because their agenda was looking after their buddies by privatizing our hydro. Look what Kathleen Wynne did. That was a mistake. I said again and again, we used to receive 1 billion revenue, our own revenue, that we can use all those programs you talked about, Brian. But giving this to private companies, it's wrong. They're now trying, they want to privatize our education, they want to privatize our healthcare. They're going to change the face of our province. And that has to be stopped, and that has to be fought, and we have to keep our healthcare first and our education, and the government should be supporting people. And there are things that is better the government to run, not the private sector, because the private sector, we've seen what happened, Brian, with long-term care. We have seen how our seniors are treated. We've seen what the military have revealed, and that's also the agenda of privatization. And Kathleen Wynne, Dalton McGuinty, Ernie Eves, Mike Harris have done that. And even Mike Harris sits at the board of this private company, after he left politics. And this is another thing. It's wrong that we see our seniors are not commodities. There's no way we can make money on the backs of our seniors. We have to end that and focus non-profit, publicly run long-term care and home care, so that we invest every dollar on service and care for our seniors. Yes, Brian, what we need to do is to put people first, and also a government that cares, have a passion, and puts the people of Ontario. And that's what we are going to do. We're going to listen, and we're going to implement our vision. And we will also have talked about our long-term platform, our green economic new democratic deal that you can also access to, our housing plan, and our also, remember, we also presented our Saving Main Street, putting small businesses also, because they have there for the community. These small businesses are closer to the community. They contribute in charity. They help in many ways. They hire, the local folks. We need to be supporting them. And now is the time they need that support. And also we've seen, Brian, also the crisis in housing. Housing is disaster. And this has been for quite some time. I've talked many times why we are here, where we are, and the crisis of housing. And it is because of the many things, but lack of the leadership of the Liberal government and the Conservatives. And this started, Brian, it started in 1993. Remember that red book? And that red book, they talked about childcare after 30 years. Now we have an opportunity to get it done. But Doug Ford and the Conservatives, as the last province holding, we cannot wait another month. We cannot wait any longer. We must sign. We should be taking advantage of a Liberal government that are now wanting to sign a deal. We should be signing it immediately to support our families in Ontario. And we should be doing that. But still, this government hasn't come out, hasn't talked about why they are still holding it. They should be sending it now, not tomorrow. They should be signing it immediately, and that's good, because we need to deliver results. And housing, I talked about many times, and you have read our housing plan. I've sent you folks, and you can also read our website, Ontario NDP. You can access that, and it says, it's just put it, even you can get it any engine by saying Ontario NDP housing plan. You can get it there as well. And this is because the John Crochet and Martin have downloaded to provincial governments their housing plan. Now, for the first time, now they have a housing minister, but we don't know their housing plan. That's another thing. We want to work with them to work together and solve these housing issues. And by downloading provincial governments, and also Mike Harris and Ernie Eves and Kathleen Wynne and Dalton McGuinty, what do? They download it to municipalities. We've seen His Worship John Tory and city councillors, they're doing their best, because downloading it means that there are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people waiting for affordable housing. And that's a shame. And this is 30 years, 30 years of neglect. And now is the time to put things right. And an NDP government will put things the right direction, and we will solve many issues we have. I've talked about also gas gorging. My colleague Jill Bouzon have put a bill recently, and the 2017, even the Kathleen Wynne Liberals have voted it down, and controlling and regulating gases. Because now you see, it doesn't matter how much they get it, it's going up every time you go to the pump. And there's no regulations, there's no accountability for that. And that's unacceptable. We need to pass Jill Bisson's bill there. We also seen the auto insurance, folks. Auto insurance is a big issue in our community and across the province, especially the GTA. And many of you are struggling because you are paying another mortgage because of auto insurance. And many of you, the transit is not efficient in our community. And because it's not efficient, because many of you rely on Western Road, Jane Street, Keel Street, Lawrence Avenue West, Eglinton Avenue West for going to work. And but you're waiting so long, and when the bus arrives, it's packed. And also the failure of not having an efficient transit. That takes people from north to south. All the projects since Mike Harris and this government and the Liberals after them, all has been designed to east-west direction. We need more transit on other directions to move people from north to south. And we need, and also we could have also more buses at the meantime, and make sure they are supported our TTC workers, ATU folks, Local 113, who are doing a fantastic job, and they have been moving people, and we need to make sure the transit is efficient, because it's not. Therefore, many members of our community are relying on cars. Because of their postal code now, they are asked to pay higher auto insurance because of their postal code. And that's a discrimination. We have been speaking about this since 2007, since I have been elected. And this postal discrimination have to come to an end. I know that my colleagues and I have been fighting on this. We brought motions and bills, and each time, what does this government do? They voted it down. And that is also, it's wrong. It shouldn't be based on postal code. Auto insurance should not be based on postal code. It should be based on your driving record and where you live, folks. And that is important, folks. And folks, those who are just joining, you're joining your member provincial parliament, Faisal Hassan. I join you every Friday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. And you have been joining me, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Faisal Hassan NDP, Facebook page, Faisal Hassan NDP, and Instagram, Faisal Hassan NDP. And I will be joining you again next Friday, but also mark on your calendar on the Friday, April 8th. I won't be able to join you folks because I will be going to a convention, and I'll be able to bring you back some good news to share as well. But I will also join you next Friday, which will be, I believe, I think 26th or 25th. I will be joining you. Let me make sure my calendar to make sure it's a correct date I gave you. Oh yeah, actually it will be the 25th. Yeah, that's correct. So I will join you 25th, and then I'll join you also. I think I'll join you also the first also is Friday, and I'll join you as well. So you will be hearing me again, and also next week, as you know, the Parliament is also resuming again, because this week was the constituency week, but we're going to go back again to hold this government accountable the remaining weeks until we go an election. And folks, because I am also already been nominated, last year, as a matter of fact, I was the first NDP sitting MPP NDP MPP nominated for the official opposition. And that was historic, folks. And if you want me to continue the work I've started, you can visit ysw.ontariondp.ca. You can donate, folks, there. And it's very important that we are ready and ready to fight the fight and win here big, and also win government. And that's why I say that you can check it out, ysw.ontariondp.ca. There you have it, folks. There you can support us there. Whatever you can, every dollar counts, folks. Well, thank you very much for joining me again. Another Friday from 7 to 8 p.m. I'm your Member Provincial Parliament, Faisal Hassan. I'll be joining you again next Friday, the same time. You can join me Instagram, Faisal Hassan NDP, Twitter, Faisal Hassan NDP, YouTube, LinkedIn, and also Facebook page, Faisal Hassan NDP. Until then, stay safe, wash your hands, and look after one another. And if you have any concerns and any issues pertaining provincial matters, you can reach me at Faisal F. Hassan-CO at ndp.on.ca, or you can reach me at 416-243-7984. Until then, folks, bye. Have a wonderful